Hello and welcome to the Zwift Race Place. Today we will be covering race number 1 in the TFC Mad Monday Series number 6. We will also be with you for the rest of the series, so tune in every Monday for live coverage and commentary. In just a few minutes, we will be going in live with the racers, but first, just a couple of things that you don't want to miss. First off, Team Vegan will be rolling out a new series starting in January with live coverage and commentary from the Zwift Race Place. Over to my right here, you can see that this series is a 5-stage series every Saturday during the month of January at 16:30 Greenwich Mean Time. There's a stage for everyone and 5 different competitions taking place, as you can see over to my left. Those are, of course, the individual general classification, the Team GC sprint competition, the King Queen of the Mountain competition, and the women's individual GC. To sign up for that series, just go down into the description below and there is a link to the sign up down there. There's also a lot of information on this series linked down there as well. So definitely check that out, and I hope to see you racing in January. Second, the Zwift Race Place rolled out a new community coaching tip series last Tuesday, where community division racers come on the show and share their Zwift racing tip. In our first video, Chris Evidon shared his tip on training for Zwift races, and in tomorrow's video, Adam Dawson, an expert on winning races with the lowest watts per kilogram in the front bunch, explains how he achieves these amazing wins. I've included a link to the playlist where both of these videos will be located down in the description below. If you want to be featured in one of these coaching tips videos, just fill out the quick form linked in the description below. Third, and finally, I just released a video on how to get Zwift's new Christmas sweater jersey. So if you and your avatar want to ride in style this holiday season, I strongly suggest checking out that video linked in the description below. Now, our racers are just getting underway, so we will join in now with our A racers getting on course. Okay, here we are live with our A category race, and we are in the front group right now watching. I believe that this is the rider. This is Joachim Leeson, the PO Auto rider in this front A group right now, and he is in this front group testing for the win, one of our favorites today, along with Hywell Davies of the BRT squad, Scott Gleason of the Nopens R3R team, Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev squad, Luke Chabot, the Restart team, and Kyle of the McKay Cycles development squad. Those are some of your favorites in today's A race here in the TFC Mad Monday series. These racers just a mile and a half into this course now. Today we are doing the London Classique course, mostly flat, crit style race, 6 laps of that course, and it should be exciting with intermediates on laps 1, 3, and 5. We will be covering all categories today on the Zwift Race Place, live coverage of the TFC Mad Monday series, but for now, just starting out with our A category as they are the first to start. Moving farther up towards the front of this group now, it is very strung out, but a lot of riders making this front cut in the A group. Having a hard time getting to the front of this group, and I see E. Harris of the TFC squad up here, another favorite on the day. Seen him do well in some of our past TFC Autumn Series and TFC Mad Monday races. Now with Little Red Riding Hood of the NLC team, just dropping back into 27th, 30th place now. Hard to stay in the front of this group, and riders are being jostled all around for position here. See some Swedish Zwifters jerseys in there as well, I believe. Some of those Swedish Zwifters favorites in our B race. There's a large Swedish Zwifters presence in that race. These A racers just coming through the lead in here, and this is a 5% gradient. This will not be part of each lap on course. It is just this first lead-in section that contains this 5% gradient here. Just a little kicker before the riders come up onto the flatter roads of London. As I said, there will be 3 sprint points on course. Going through that sprint banner 5 times, but only points available on laps 1, 3, and 5 for all categories. That should be an exciting component to all of these races here. See who goes for those intermediate points early on in these races, as well as towards the end. 6 laps, but only intermediates available on laps 1, 3, and 5. Now it looks like one of our A racers has just come off the front of this group. R. Todd of the Onyx RT team. This is a familiar position for him off the front of a race. A good sprinter, R. Todd. Just watching as the pack closing in on him here. Coming under the 1 kilometer to go banner right now. If you look in the minimap in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you see that green sprint point just about a mile ahead of them. That is what these racers are gunning for. Our first landmark on course today. We will stick with our A racers to that sprint point, and then it is in with our B race to see how some of our favorites in that race, Mike Abraham, Maciej Majuskic, Jacek Karluk, Carl Tilius, and David Engel are doing. 2 out of those top 5 favorites in our B race are of the Swedish Swifters team, as I mentioned previously. Sorry about that. Just a little glitch here. And the riders are just about to hit the sprint point. Dan J of the Relentless Squad on the front, donning that nice Christmas sweater jersey Zwift just rolled out with recently, pushing a nice 9.5 watts per kilograms to take first place in that sprint. Believe Kyle of McKay Cycles dev team taking third there, one of our favorites in today's A race. If you want to know how to get this Zwift Christmas sweater jersey, as I said earlier, a link to that video in the description below. And now it is time to go back with our B race. We will rejoin them in just a moment. Sorry, not rejoin them. Join them for the first time. Now back in your B race with Mike Abraham of the Bike and Squirrel team. Not sure, yeah, he is listed under that team for today's race. And these racers just about to hit that sprint point, just trying to get to the front of our group. And Armin Rowe of the Zwift Scotland team looks like he will have this one on the line. Mike Abrams, though, taking it up right to the line. Abrams taking it on the line from Armin Rowe of the Scottish Swifters team. That was a close sprint, and we saw Mike Abrahams just taking those top-placed intermediate points on the line there. He is, of course, our number 1 favorite in this B race today. Armin Rowe, though, still sitting at the front of this B race, and we go back now with our C race to see if we can catch them before the sprint. Just a moment. having a hard time finding our C category racers on course, but we will be joining them in just a moment. Sorry about this. Now into our C group with Chisholm McDonald. These C racers have not hit the sprint point yet, and we are just in time as the banner is coming up right there. Sorry about that. Trying to get to the front of this group with B. Locken of the Glory Squad leading them out, it looks like. This will be close on the line. Looks like Zwift Scotland rider taking it home. That was R. Sanderson of the Zwift Scotland team. Chisholm McDonald, I believe he squeaked out second on the line, but we'll have to wait for the Zwift Power Primes tab to update so we can see who took those points on the line. As I said, 3 intermediate points on course today, and it is 20 points available for the first place rider across the line at each of these intermediates. Then it descends down 19 points for second, 18 for third, 17 for fourth, 16 for fifth, and so on. Actually, excuse me, I am incorrect on that. Intermediate points descend in a different order. I'll get back to you on that just a little later, but it is 20 points for first place across each intermediate. Now, going back into our women's race with Ellie Spink, she dominated in the TFC Mad Monday series in number 5, which was that previous Mad Monday series, and she has some competition this time. Looks like M. Frisk going off the front of this women's race. Frisk taking it home, it looks like. In second place there, that was A. Hayden of the Zwift Scotland team, and I. Johnson taking third. Looks like Ellie Spink still in this front group, though. This is your front group in the women's race. Our women's race and our D race both went off at the same time, so our front D racers, I believe, already going through that sprint point. Just have to check in and see how they fared through that intermediate sprint. But Hayden, I believe, taking the second place points today. Sorry, not today. Whoops, sorry about that. I believe just froze for a minute, but we should be back now. Checking over back on that intermediates point subject. 20 points for first, 17 for second, 15 for third, 13 for fourth, 11 for fifth, and then it goes 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, all the way down to 10th place. In terms of points on the finish line, it is 100 points for the winner of the race, and then descends from there 99, 98, 97, 96, and so on. Now going to try and go in with our D category racers. Haven't seen them quite yet. Now in our D race with Michael Alls of the Rhino Squad. Rhino, of course, my team as well. He is sitting in around 28th place overall, so top 30 position here, but it does not look like he has made our front B group. Just scrolling up through our Bs now. A. Yates, the Brit, sitting in around 7th place overall in this front women's group with Ellie Spink, our winner of the TFC Mad Monday series in the women's category last TFC Mad Monday series. But these are not. Here we go with our leading D racer on the road, F. Bake. And it looks like he just came through that sprint point with our women. Now, I know I dropped over in the chat. Let me know your picks for the winners of each category. today in the TFC Mad Monday series, so just feel free to let me know over in the chat who you think will take it home on today's course. We are going to go back to the front of the race now with our A category racers, see how they are faring at the front of the race. They are just about to complete their first lap. Having completed, all categories now have completed that intermediate sprint point, and the next sprint point will be on lap 3. Now in the front group with Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev team. This racer wearing that notable Canyon jersey, Canyon Dev jersey. Sure, many of you have seen that jersey in the Zwift Racing League. Of course, Lionel Vyasen sporting that jersey, as well as, I believe, Ollie Jones also on that team. Two prominent riders in the world of Zwift. Lionel Vyasen, nicknamed the Duck, also one of the Zwift Academy Road finalists this year. So Lucas Byam riding for quite a notable team here. He took home the win in the last race of the TFC Mad Monday Series number 5, I believe. Covered that just last week. And he is sitting at the back of this group right now. Not sure if he's under pressure or just resting up the legs. Sitting around 78th place overall. So this group is quite large, about a group of 80 as our lead A race group. Pretty impressive from the A racers here, and just shows you how many contenders there are, that we have so many riders managing to stick up in this front group. Moving now towards the front of this A race, just to see who is on the front here. Always interesting to see who is driving the pace, And it looks like M. Wiss maybe going for a little attack here. 6 watts per kilograms, definitely driving the pace hard. And R. Todd of the Onyx RT team up here with him as well. I know R. Todd, famous for his breakaway moves in these races. And he is on the front now, also pushing 6 watts per kilograms. But the pack has brought them back. They're still pushing pretty hard on the front, trying to get away, but it's not a course for a breakaway today. Quite flat. 6 laps of this London Classique course. Definitely more of a crit style race, not favoring breakaways, especially with Zwift's sticky draft and their other draft dynamics. Gives a large advantage to the group. So I think I can safely say that today's race will come down to a sprint finish in most categories. Maybe our women's race and our D race, a rider could go clear, as not as many racers racing in those 2 races, and also a greater difference between the ability of each racer in those races as well. So watch out for a rider going clear in our D category race and our women's race. But in our A, B, and C race, I would predict a sprint finish. Our A racers have now completed their first lap as well as the lead-in. So more than about a fifth of the way into the course now. Hitting this 5% gradient, just real quick right there. They just have a short climb up. It's technically considered an incline on this course, as this course is so flat, and then it flattens off for a little while, and it is a descent into the sprint point every lap. So definitely fast sprints from these racers, as they will be coming from a downhill. Going back into our B race now to check in on how Mike Abraham is doing at the front of that race. Here we are back with Mike Abraham. See, believe that is David Engel of the Swedish Zwifters squad right there in that blue, white, and yellow jersey. One of our favorites in the B race today. Carl Celius, our other Swedish Zwifter favorite. 2 Swedish Zwifters predicted top 5 on Zwift Power today. So watch out for them. Maybe even some team tactics coming from the Swedish Zwifters team, as I know I can see at least 3 of those Swedish Zwifters jerseys in this front B group. But Mike Abraham is a very strong racer, and we'll see what he can pull off as well. He's just sitting around the center of this group. Saw him pull it off, just squeaking into first on the line in our intermediate sprint not that long ago on the first lap of this course. He took home those maximum 20 points for the intermediate sprint there. These riders now just hitting the same incline that our A racers were just going over. From here, it flattens out for a little while, and then it's a little bit of a descent back into the sprint point. Of course, no points available on the second lap for that intermediate sprint point. So we will just have to wait for our third lap to see these riders going for it again. Although you never know, sometimes riders will just go for the sprint even when there are no points available. We'll see if anybody goes off the front trying to get through that sprint banner first. No points available though. Moving farther up towards the front of our D race now. Watching David Engel of the Swedish Zwifters squad sitting just towards the center of your screen right now. Whoops, sorry about that. Just going in farther into the race there. Berglund also up here as well. He was a prominent figure in some of our TFC Mad Monday races in series number 5. So see if he can pull something off, also on the Swedish Zwifters squad, as these racers coming through the 1K to go banner. That doesn't really mean much for us. Believe that indicates 1 kilometer to go to the sprint point, but no points available at the sprint point this lap. See if we can go in with our C race now. Andy Ellis, one of our favorites in the C race today, does not look like he showed up on the start line, so he will not be contending. But he took the win in our C race on the last race of the TFC Mad Monday Series number 5, so he's definitely a contender to watch later in the series. Now, back in our C race with... Whoops, sorry about this. Looks like Adam Bubb doing a different event here. This is not your C race. He was also registered in the C race today. Does not look like he showed up on the start line either. Now this is your C race. I apologize for all that jumping around with Chisholm McDonald. He is in this front C group, and these racers just about to pass through that same 1K to go banner that we just saw our B racers passing through. Chisholm McDonald, one of our favorites in the C race today. He rides for the Glory Squad, I believe. So 2 of our favorites in the C race not showing up on the starting line. And I also do not see Arbov Jr., another C racer I was going to be watching for the win today in this front C pack. Not sure if he made it either. So a lot of the fastest riders not on the line today in our C race. Chisholm McDonald still up here though, and I believe that Basti Larkin is in this front group as well, although I have not seen him yet. He is our number 1 favorite for the win today in the C race, so keep an eye on him in that final sprint. Also, feel free to let me know over in the live chat to the right of the stream any riders that you would like to see watched in the TFC Mad Monday race. I can check in on them, see how they are doing. But now we are going to go back into our women's race. See if we can meet up with Kath Tompkinson of the ART group. And here she is in the E-race. That is, of course, our women's category. Also up here, I believe Ellie Spink. Although I do not see her on the leaderboard, but it would surprise me if she was not in this front group. Kath Tompkinson sitting in 10th place overall. There we go. There is Ellie Spink sitting in 3rd overall. The BRT rider who has dominated in this series in past editions. A. Hayden, believe she took that intermediate sprint point on lap 1, also in this front group. Our D racers should be just a little bit farther up here as well. Just going through some of our D racers here. A. Murphy, I believe he might be tacked onto the back of a front group here. Nope, sorry about that. P. Melfi also up here as well. And here is Michael Alls of the Rhino squad. Watching him earlier. Here we go with F. Bike. He is also in this front women's group. So some of our leading D racers and the leaders of our women's race in similar groups here. A little bit confusing on the road there. But our A racers are coming up to the sprint point on lap 3. Of course, 20 intermediate points on offer for the winner through that sprint point. So we are going to be rejoining them in just a moment. Now back in our front group with Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev Squad. And these racers just about a kilometer out from that intermediate sprint point where 20 points are on offer for the winner. If you figure we have 3 intermediate sprint points on course today and only 100 points, well, I shouldn't say only, but 100 points available for the winner of each of these races. I mean, 60 points could come if you won all of our intermediate sprint points on course today. Just trying to stay in the front of this pack. And Dan J of the Relentless Squad leading out with the sprint again. But he is getting overtaken on the line. H. Mustard, I believe he will drive it home. Mustard being overtaken on the line by K. Oftel. That was a tough sprint to call. It was very close there in the front. Look back on our Preems feature on Zwift Power just to see if they have those results shortly. Preems still not in, so if you want to check on that after the event is over to see all the official results on who took those intermediate sprints in each category, just use the Zwift Power link in the description below. That will take you directly to this race's Zwift Power page, and then toggle over to the Preems tab on Zwift Power, and you will be able to see which racers won across each banner. And just remember, only the sprint banners on laps 1, 3, and 5 count. This means that our A racers have just about finished their 3rd lap on course. Believe that once they come through that they have just finished their 3rd lap on course, and this means that they are over halfway through the race now. 6th lap race. And Zwift Power predicting that these riders will finish around the 48:18 minute mark. So 48 minutes, 18 seconds, that's in about 20 minutes. I would almost say that they'll finish a little faster than that. I think the pace will pick up towards the end just a little bit. But about 20 minutes sounds about right. See Devilyard up here in this front group as well. Seen him do some nice sprinting in the TFC Mad Monday series before. Not contesting for any of these intermediates, so we'll see what he has to offer on the finish line. The Riskinator says, wow, sick commentary, dude. I'm definitely doing this race next week. Thanks, the Riskinator. Yeah, this is definitely a fun race to do. Got all those intermediate points where points are available, as well as the finish. And for those of you interested in some of the courses coming up in the TFC Mad Monday series, just looking over here. Today, of course, the London Classique course, but next week is Watopia Sand and Sequoias, so a little bit more of a hilly course with intermediates available on the Titans Grove KOM and the Sprint banner. And then the week after that, we have the New York City Gotham Grind reversed, so more of a rolling course. And then we're back with a flat, hilly, rolling courses for the rest of the series. So some stages for everybody in this series. And always some good places to take some of those intermediate points if you cannot contest for the win. Heading back in with our B race now, as they will be approaching. I believe they already came through that sprint point. So we'll just have to check and see who took those points later on. Now back with Mike Abraham of the Bike and Scorelight team. He seems to like sitting right here at the back of this B group, but he is an excellent racer, won plenty of races, so this strategy definitely seeming to work for him. I know that personally, when I'm sitting at the back of this race like this, I get anxious. I'm going to get spit right out the back, and I tend to move up. I prefer being in the top 20 in a group like this, but it does provide more relief often to just sit on the back here, get in the wheels, use the benefit of the draft, and Mike Abraham seems to have perfected this. For more info on using the draft to perfection, we have a coaching tip series with Adam Dawson, who's going to be sharing his coaching tip on winning races with the lowest watts per kilograms in the front group tomorrow morning, so definitely check that out. This is still a pretty large group in our B field as well, around 60 to 70 racers making it into the front group in our B race. If you look at our C or D races, as well as our women's race, they have much smaller front packs, which will in the end most likely lead to a slower time around the course, as well as a larger pack uses more of the draft benefit and comes around this course faster, as it is quite flat, and drafting plays a big component in this kind of racing. Trying to get now to the front of our D race, watching M. Hoodless of the ART, the Art Squad. Kath Thompson in our women's race, also on that Art team. She is in that front group in our women's race, along with Ellie Spink. And I believe I saw Nicole Smith, a teammate of Ellie Spink, in that front group in our women's race as well. Ashley Jolly of the Zwift Scotland squad, another one of our women who was signed up for that race this morning. Not sure if she made it to the start line, but another favorite in that women's race. But on the front of this pack, as we hit this little incline, is Elle Turner, a TFC racer. Great to see some TFC jerseys in this group. It's TFC, the ones who put on this race. I think that was our Bob, maybe our Bob Sr. in this front group, another TFC racer. Those TFC jerseys are the yellow and black jerseys, of course. Remind me a little bit of a bumblebee. Not to be confused with the yellow and black kind of chevron pattern that this rider in the orange cap is wearing. It's just one of Zwift's standard jerseys. Elle Turner of the TFC squad moved to the front on that little incline and is staying up here. Looks like he is in pretty nice position in this pack. Still getting some nice benefit from the draft, but sitting at the front where he can watch attacks. And this would be a pretty ideal position to go into the sprint point with, although there are not any sprint points available on this lap. But sitting right around there in the top 20, I mean, that offers you the perfect lead out coming into the sprint point. So be watching for some of those riders as we near this 1K mark on our 5th lap. Be watching for riders sitting around the 20th position to be the top contesters in the sprint. Now, Maik Abraham taking the intermediate on the first lap from our B category here, but not sure who took those intermediate points on lap number 3. Just have to check back with our Preems tab on Zwift Power for that. But going back in with the lead category in the lead pack in our D and women's category races. Now with Ellie Spink of the BRT squad. And I apologize, there are some our lead D racers are just a little bit ahead of this women's group, but not too far ahead. Looks like Elle Stasens might be a dropped rider in our women's category, as the gap to her coming down pretty fast. Not sure if she is off the front of this race or dropped rider. Just checking in here. Yep, looks like she's pushing closer to 70 watts, so I would say it's pretty safe to say that she's a dropped rider. Yep, sitting in 72nd place overall. But the leaders of our women's race, now watching H. Shanks of the Zwift Scotland squad. These women chasing down some of our dropped riders, as well as some of the leaders in our D category. Now just checking out some riders in our D race, see if we can catch the front of that race. Believe I just came full circle. No, just waiting to see. I believe this might be your front group in the D race. Here we are with F Bike sitting 6th place overall in the D race. Now 4th, so now being shown as 3rd, 2nd. Looks like there's just some problems with Zwift's leaderboard over to the right here, as he is sitting in a group of all women, so his position should not be changing on the leaderboard. Alright, our A racers are just about to go through the sprint point on their 5th lap. That, of course, does offer points, so we're going to head back up to the front of the race with them, and then we'll try and check in with our C race, as we have not seen them in a little while now. Sorry about that, just taking a little longer to get into our A race than I expected. Now here we are with Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev Squad. And as I said earlier, the riders sitting around 20th position when they come through that 1K to go banner will be the ones to watch in the sprint. And our A race just about to come through that 1K to go banner now, not too far. So we'll be sitting right around 20th position, looking to see who's in prime position set up for that sprint. Now with Kay Atkinson of the BRT squad. Seen him racing before in the TFC Mad Monday series. He's just drifting around in the front of this pack. Front A pack looks like it's shrunk down a little. Still see Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev squad. Pretty easy to find jersey there. Kay Atkinson sitting right around prime position as they come through the 1K to go banner now. Looking to see who else is right around this 20th position. See Devyard, seen him make a move in the sprint before, so see if he goes for it. He's in pretty good position here as well. M. Wiss now. He was trying to form a little breakaway with one of the Onyx riders earlier, so see if he goes for the sprint point on this lap. Lots of riders to be watching as they descend down into the sprint point. -1% gradient now. Mostly flat course, but they do come off a little downhill into the sprint point, so they are moving extra fast coming into that intermediate. And we're still in the front of this group, and we are now on to the red roads of London. And some riders already starting to launch their sprint. Just trying to get in with those riders now as we come up to the sprint point. And it looks like T Better, no, M Gangst, and it will be close on the line. Sorry about that. I believe M Sjorgen took it. A PO Auto rider up there as well. It was a close sprint. Just went over a little. Kyle of the McKay Cycles Dev squad was up there as well. You can see his name in the leaderboard over to your right. The PO Auto rider up there was Jay Leeson. He is definitely one of our favorites in the A race today. Believe he might have even been predicted first on the day. And he's just showing us what he's made of with some incredible intermediate sprints here. He definitely got some points as he was in the top 10 in that sprint. I don't think he took max points, though. Hard to tell, as it was a lot of riders just kind of swarming towards the line. Head back with our B race now. Try and catch their sprint point. Now with Mike Abraham, we've seen him take this intermediate sprint before, and he has another shot here. He's coming around this bend here, the whole pack, leaning into the sidewalk quite a bit. Mike Abraham sitting around 50th position, a little bit far back to contest for the sprint. Right now, he'll need to move up before that sprint point if he wants to have a chance, but it could provide a decent lead out for him here. He can claim these sprint points again and then finishes nicely in the final sprint on the day. He could be looking at a first place overall in the series after the first race. He was definitely up there in this series last week, series number 5. This is now series number 6. Believe he might have even won in the B category series. So be watching him as well as some of these Swedish Zwifters riders, to bring it home in at the top of the leaderboard after today's race. Mike Abraham now moving up to 12th place. He's in prime position for this sprint now, just hovering around the 15th position, and the sprint banner now in sight. Frank of the BZR Lions launching his sprint, but it's Armin Rowe leading them out, going early before the sprint line even comes up, but P. Brooks looks like he is right behind, and a Swedish Zwifter there as well. So the Swedish Zwifter just blowing past, as well as that rider in the yellow jersey. Believe that was K. Tissilis, the Swedish Zwifter rider that took second. And the rider blowing past was that rider in the red and gray jersey. Not sure who that was, but should be able to figure that out in just a moment here. Believe that might have been A. Turner. Let's see. No, not A. Turner. Not sure who won that sprint, but it was that rider in the gray and red jersey. So here we go. Looks like V. Cummins was the one who took that sprint home. In the end, gray and red jersey with the white arrow helmet. He blew past those riders that went early right at the line, as well as that rider in the yellow and gray chevron pattern jersey, and our Swedish Zwifter, that was Carl Tiselius, who took second or third. Too close to call right away, but Zwift Power will let us know after not too long. All right. Now, our A, I know I promised we'd go back with the C race, but our A racers are about to hit their final sprint, so we got to catch the finish to our A race first. Just now with Lucas Byam of the Canyon Dev Squad, and these racers have just come over that little hump onto this flat section, racing towards that 1K to go banner, and this time the 1K to go really does mean 1K to go to the finish of this race. I've seen Lucas Byam bring it home with a strong sprint before. He hasn't been contending in the intermediates yet, so see if he still has something left in the legs for the win today and to take those 100 points on the final finish line. Moving farther up through this group, not sure if those are dropped A racers off the front or if those are riders making an attack, and I believe they are riders making an attack. Saw Scott Gleason up here in this front group. Here we are with E. Hool of the Cryo RDT team, and he is the one leading it out. See a rider on the CCNS, Mighty Mallards, also back there as well. Another favorite in today's A race. These riders have just come under the 1K to go banner, and it is going to be a fierce race down to the finish line. E. Hool, though, still off the front, pushing 7 watts per kilograms. Definitely seeing bigger numbers coming from behind, but can he hold them off until the finish? He has about a second to work with here, and the banner is going to come into sight before they even realize it. E. Hool still leading out this race, but it looks like VR of the CCNS Mighty Mallards is right here, ready to come around him. Ziyama, the Japanese rider, also in this front group as well, and it looks like VR of the CCNS Mighty Mallards making his move, and he has it on the line, I believe. I do not think that Yama or Hool are going to come around him. Yes, Hool taking second, and Ziyama in third. The PO Auto rider Jay Leeson winning in the bunch sprint behind. He will take fourth on the day. Impressive race from all of our A racers, and we will have confirmed results shortly. It was Eddie Hool of the Cryo RDT team who made that early attack through the 1K to go banner, but could not sustain it. He took second on the day. Jay Leeson, the rider we're watching right now, the PO Auto Ceramic Speed rider, he took fourth, I believe, in the bunch sprint behind, and just awaiting confirmation from Zwift Power on our official results as we go back to the D race so that we can catch our B race finish. Sorry, I meant to say B race. Now back with our B race, and they are not far from the finish line. This is just about where we caught up with our A category before their finish. Head to the front of this pack. Does not look like there's any flyers as there were in our A race trying to go off the front early. Maybe some dropped riders up here though. Dennis Berglund, the Swedish Zwifters rider, on the front of our B category race here. He is in that blue and yellow Swedish Zwifters jersey. Seen him do some amazing things in the sprint before, so keep your eye on him in this final sprint, as well as Mike Abrahams, the rider that we first caught up with in this front group. See him moving up through the ranks now, trying to come to the front of this race. Just trying to stay on the front here. Just saw Dennis Berglund up there. Just trying to stay with this front group as there are some dropped B riders ahead. This Coleman of the Onyx RT squad. Sorry, went a bit too far. Sorry about this. Have to rejoin those racers. Here we go. Now back with our front group with Mike Abraham. And this is just about to be the sprint for the win in our B category race here. See some racers launching it already. Kay Serafas, Jay Carluke, S. Bridgman. Sorry about that. Looks like these are your racers contesting for the win. Bridgman in first right now. Try to get a closer look at these. No, Jay Carluke is leading them out. E. Shields sitting in second, and M. Hubert taking it up in third. That was an impressive sprint on the line, but I believe Jay Carluke taking it home pretty clearly there in your B race. Now heading back with our C racers, see if we can catch their finish. As I said before, a lot of our favorites in the C race not showing up on the starting line, so it will be an interesting sprint in the C race. Now back with Chisholm McDonald. Looks like these racers are still have a little ways to go before the finish. This is a much smaller group than we saw coming to the finish in our A or B races. But Chisholm McDonald sitting in pretty great position here so far, around 15th place overall in this group. And I believe that they still have to come over the little lump in the road, gets up to 5% gradient there before the finish. Now, just a quick recap before we get to the finish of these races. Down in the description below, I have included a link to Team Vegan's upcoming Veganuary series. I will be covering that here on the Zwift Race Place. And there's a GC competition based on time, Team GC, Sprint Green Jersey competition, and Polka Dot Jersey competition. Definitely a series worth looking into, so click on the link for more information about that series down in the description below. Also, I'm sure many of you have seen the new Zwift Christmas sweater jerseys throughout these pelotons here. If you want to learn how to get that jersey for your avatar in game, I also included a link to a video I made on that down below. And tomorrow we have Adam Dawson giving his coaching tip on how to win a race with the lowest watts per kilogram in the entire front group. He's had some really impressive race wins, and he's going to share his secrets with us on the Community Division Coaching Tips series tomorrow morning. Included a link to a playlist where that will be located, also down in the description below. But back with our C race now. see a Swedish Swifters jersey up here, but it's getting spread out as our C racers going off the front of this race. Whoops, sorry about that. B. Locken of the Glory Squad. He is our favorite on the day. This is Basti Locken coming to the front of your C race. Already launching a little bit of a sprint there, just trying to catch up with these lead riders, and I believe that is F. Jorge, C. Clausen, and S. Lynn that are leading out these racers towards that 1K to go banner. J. Larden chasing from behind, but B. Locken, your favorite on the day, Basti Locken chasing down this little front group as they come through the 1K to go banner, and the rest of the pack has been distanced a bit. See if this little group can work together. Only 1K to go now. Use the draft, push hard, and stay away from the chasing group behind. But T. Carpenter chasing from behind, closing that gap pretty fast. See if any other riders can bridge across, or if this will all be brought back together before the finish. These riders now less than 1K to go to that finish, and some of our other riders from the main pack making their way back up into this little group. If you look at the minimap in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you can see that our front C group has been split into more like 3 groups now, as the riders hitting these red roads down in towards London. A group of 4 TFC riders moving up towards the front here. Whew, just taking a breath for a moment there. Lots of action in our C race. C. Clausen now. Clausen of the Team CT. But it's B. Locken of the Glory Squad. Looks like he's got this one in the bag, blowing away everyone else. And G. Vanderberg looks like he can take second. C. Clausen taking third. And I believe that might have been Chisholm McDonald sitting in second place. Sorry, Chisholm McDonald in third, and the Swedish Swifter rider taking fourth, just having to wait to get confirmation from Zwift Power. Now going back with our D category. A hard time finding our D racers on course. Now back with Michael Alls, the Rhino rider. He's sitting in a group here in our D race, trying to move up with some of our other D racers out on course. Not sure who is leading this D race. Now, this is Barry McGeehan of the Zwift Scotland D1 squad. I'm still unclear on who is leading this D race, and Zwift's leaderboard functions are a little messed up here. Looks like D Winter in 4th place overall. Here we go. That's our women's race. F Bike sitting in 3rd. And it looks like he might be the first placed rider actually on Zwift Power here, registered on Zwift Power. So I believe he is your official leader on the road right here, because it is just Zwift having a hard time with their leaderboard today. And also in this group, Ellie Spink, our leading female rider on course today. Actually, A. Hayden leading now. So we will get 2 finishes in 1 coming up here. The finish to our women's race, as well as the finish to our D category race. And it is F Bike taking it home for the B race, I believe, for the D race, I believe, as he is the only D racer in this front group. M. Frisk still leading in our women's race, and it looks like she will take it on the line, followed by Shanks of the Zwift Scotland, then A. Hayden, and then Ellie Spink taking fourth, and Bike taking first in our D race unofficially. All right. Well, just before you go, remember to register for the Veganuary series. We'll be covering that live here on the channel. Some great competitions there. Check out my video on how to get the Zwift Christmas sweater jersey. And check out tomorrow morning Adam Dawson's video on winning a Zwift race with the lowest watts per kilograms possible. I included a link to the playlist where that will be included down in the description below. All right. Now, that concludes our live coverage of the TFC Mad Monday series for today. Hope you enjoyed. Check out Zwift Power for all the official results. Talk about those a little next Monday for the live coverage. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.